All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick's on the Power. So today I want to talk about another bodybuilding legend, Francis Benfatto, aka Mr. Symmetry. And specifically, I want to talk about his ability to seemingly defy age. I mean, this guy is 60 years old, and he still has an incredible physique. And this is something that we seem to see more and more with the smaller guys with more classic physiques and lines, and not so much the mass monsters. Francis Benfatto being a guy that only weighed between 205 and 215 pounds on stage during his competitive career, and he still maintains a very impressive physique even to this day. Now, Francis had an incredibly long and storied bodybuilding career in the 1980s, 90s, 2000s, and even as recently as competing in the 2012 Masters Mr. Olympia competition. Now, Francis is probably best known for the titles won earlier in his career when he was younger, the 1982 Mr. France competition and the 1985 Mr. Universe competition, and later on in his career during the 90s. His best placing at the Mr. Olympia would be 7th place in 1991. Now, as you can see from these classic photos of Francis, you can tell why they called him Mr. Symmetry. His proportions and the balance of his physique was really his strong point in competitions, not so much being a mass monster or a guy with a crazy amount of muscle, but the lines, the proportion, and the symmetry were the strong points that really propelled him to victory and really high placings at many of the shows that he competed in. Now, he would actually suffer from a pec tear later on in his career, which would throw off the balance and symmetry of his physique, and he would make a comeback at the age of 48 years old in 2006 to compete at the Australian Grand Prix, where he would actually do pretty well for a 48-year-old guy competing in the open division, placing 6th at that 2006 Australian Grand Prix again at almost 50 years old. Now, unfortunately for Francis Benfatto, he really began to hit his stride in the early 90s. He signed his deal with Joe Weider in 1990, and Joe Weider told Francis that 1991 Mr. Olympia, where he placed 7th, would be Francis's year. But unfortunately for Francis, as we all know, the 1990s era of bodybuilding would become heavily focused on muscle mass, and many mass monsters would come out of the woodwork in the 90s and start placing very, very well, including guys like Dorian Yates, Paul Dillette, Nasser El Sambadi, Ronnie Coleman towards the end of the 90s. So the days of a smaller, proportioned, balanced guy with good lines winning big shows like the Mr. Olympia, those days were starting to come to an end, and a whole new era in bodybuilding was starting to begin, really right when Francis Benfatto was at his best. Now, currently, Francis Benfatto is 60 years old, and the most recent posing video of him came out just about a year ago, where he was 58 or 59 in this particular posing video, looking absolutely incredible for a guy pushing 60 years old. And one of the things that you tend to see with these guys that get older and still have these great physiques is they really focus heavily on their posing and practicing hitting poses in that perfect classical way. And that's one of those things that you can see with Francis Benfatto in this video. He places a heavy emphasis on slow, very controlled, and very artistic posing. And this is something that I think you saw with Rory Liedlmeyer in the video that I did a day ago about Rory at age 62, still posing and still maintaining a very great classic-looking physique. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you want to see more then and now videos on bodybuilders with classic physiques that were able to maintain them up until their later years. So thank you guys for watching the video. Nick's on the Power, signing out.